Hi everybody, I'm Karma. Welcome to my channel of life stories. If you're new to this channel, I hope you enjoy the stories. And thank you to my subscribers and those of you returning to support me. Today's video has been sponsored by Pop's Trading Post. A link to Pop's Trading Post has been listed below. The story I have for you today deals with the subject of bullying. I ask that you please give the story your attention, as this is one of the very few that I have heard that actually has a happy ending. So sit back, relax, and listen to a story called The Bully, My Friend. My son is a grounded and well-rounded individual. I could not be more proud of all of his accomplishments. If you were to meet him, you would say to yourself, what a confident individual. But it wasn't always the case. When he was young, he was bullied relentlessly. He was so sensitive, and every day he showed up at home with fresh bruises. It would take a lot of questions and prodding that basically turned into interrogation before he would ever admit to the physical abuse from the bullying. He was ashamed. I turned him to face me. Yes, he had told the teachers. No, they had not done anything at all. No, he did not want me to call them again. In part, he was afraid the bullying would escalate to something worse. I sighed inwardly, conflicted, and then determined, yes, I would call the school again. I looked at the small boy I held in my arms and felt my heart break into two ragged pieces. Son, I said as I looked into his eyes, listen to me carefully. You need to stand up for yourself. Never let anyone hit you like that if you didn't do anything. I'll get in trouble, he wailed, bursting into fresh tears. No, you will not, I informed him. Your father and I will have your back. I gave him this piece of advice because I knew he was dealing with only one bully and not several. Maybe my advice would have been different if he had been dealing with a group. My son looked at me, dried his eyes, and said, "Okay, Mom." Perhaps I should have realized that this was a defining moment for him. These moments are fleeting, and sometimes we just miss them. The next day at work, a frantic call was answered by the coworker that sat right next to me. I heard her say, "Hold on, sweetheart. I can't understand what you're saying. Who is going to kill you?" She asked the caller to please hold, turned to me and said, "It's your son, and he's very upset. To the best of my understanding, he's saying his dad is going to kill him, and he needs to talk to you." I picked up the phone and heard my son crying uncontrollably. "Dad is going to kill me," he said over and over again. "Honey, calm down," I begged him. "Why is your father going to kill you?" "I've been suspended from school," he said. "Why?" I asked. He said that the bully had physically attacked him again. With my words ringing in his ears, my son finally defended himself and traded punches with a very surprised bully. The fight had escalated to the point where two teachers had intervened and separated the boys. Both were sent to the principal's office. However, the principal had only suspended my son. The bully left the principal's office relatively unscathed except for the bruises my son had inflicted in his defense. "Did you kick his buns?" I asked him. "No," he replied miserably. "He kicked mine." My son poured out his heart to me, and I reassured him that everything would be fine and that we would talk about it when his dad and I got home. It had been a long call, but I finally got him to calm down. I told him I loved him and I would see him at home. I hung up the phone and looked at my coworker, tears starting to form in my eyes. "He's gonna kill me! He's gonna kill me!" I shrieked. "Who's going to kill you?" she said, eyes widening in horror. "My husband," I cried, "for giving my son advice he listened to. He never listens to me." My coworker laughed at my misery. I sniffled and picked up the phone. I wiped my eyes while the phone was ringing and composed myself. When my husband answered, I was able to sound rational and coherent again. I explained the situation to him and specifically told him I told our son to defend himself and that we would have his back. This is not his fault. It's my fault. He was just listening to me. He defended himself from a bully when none of the teachers would help him. My husband can be a bit of a hothead at the best of times. I asked if he wanted me to call the principal, but he declined. He said he would make the call himself. He called me back 30 minutes later to advise he had an appointment with the principal the very next day. "We have an appointment," I responded. I hung up the phone and marched straight into my manager's office to ask for the next day off. The three of us showed up at the principal's office for our 1 o'clock appointment. My husband had called the principal the day before and was flabbergasted when advised that only our son was being suspended. My husband then informed the principal in so many words that if only our son was suspended and nothing happened to the bully, we, his parents, were going to tear their house of sticks, the school, down with prejudice by any means necessary, legal or otherwise. It had been enough to give the principal pause so that the bully and both of his parents had also shown up for this conference. The principal started with our son, saying that he had been the primary instigator of the fight and would therefore be suspended from school for 2 days. I felt a blinding rage, but stifled it enough to inform the principal calmly otherwise. I detailed the times my son had come home bruised and bloody because of the bully. My son was sporting a black eye, and I challenged the principal to show us how he had given it to himself. I angrily detailed the times my son had gone to his teachers for help and how he had been ignored to the point he had no other choice but to defend himself. We said we would not fight the suspension, as that was school policy. But if the bully was not suspended as well, then we would seek legal recourse. In the end, both boys were suspended for 2 days. Many people who heard of my son's altercation told me that we should have made the principal cancel our son's suspension. And maybe we should have, but I explained to them that this was a valuable learning experience for my son. Sometimes doing the right thing is hard. Even if things are not our fault, we sometimes have to face repercussions that come from our actions. The school should not have punished the victim, but that was just it. We did not want our son to be a victim. We left the school with each parent holding our son's hands. It was past lunchtime, so we wordlessly head off to his favorite place to eat, Chuck E. Cheese's, and then stopped for ice cream before we headed for home. No, we never punished our son for fighting at school and being suspended. Instead, we told him we were proud of him and that he should never be afraid to defend himself or stand up for anyone too weak and defenseless to stand up for themselves. We made his suspension more like a holiday for him instead of a punishment. Yes, we had his back and always would. When Monday came and my son went back to school, I worried for him. I jumped every time the phone rang at work, terrified I would get a call saying my son had been physically hurt by the bully again. When my husband and I got home that evening, we were met at the door by a little boy bursting with excitement. He had made a new friend. And guess who it turned out to be? It was the bully he had a fight with. Apparently, the bully now had some newfound respect for the boy that had stood up to him and defended himself. They remained friends until we moved away from that state. This was a turning point for my son, and there was no going back. Thank God that everything turned out well for him. As I understand, everything could have turned out much differently and much worse. All this happened when my son was 9 years old. He is now in his mid-30s. He's quick to defend himself and will also stand up for others when necessary. His father and I were reminiscing when he reminded me of this one defining moment that helped shape our son. I wanted to share the story on your channel to give support to anyone who has to deal with bullying. Let them know that they are not alone. I know that not every story has a happy ending, and I just want to say, please support your child. What you say today will shape the people they will become tomorrow. Thank you, Karma, for your consideration. Sincerely, Jay. What a story. When I first read the story, I knew that I wanted to do a video for it. My channel is all about life stories, and unfortunately, bullying is all too often a part of life for a lot of people. I try to encourage kindness in others to change the world, and I believe that if we start with our children, we can ensure that change. The OP was right. Please support your children, and most of all, please support anyone who has to deal with bullying. Thank you, Jay, the author of this story, for sharing your experience with us. If anyone else has gone through a similar situation, please let me know in the comment section, or leave 3 heart emojis to show your support to the OP of this story. Comments and likes have a huge impact on how YouTube recommends this channel to other viewers. So I ask that if you like this video, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you would like your story read on my channel, please submit your story to karma@karmagetin.com or post to u/Karmagetin on Reddit. All stories will be read anonymously with either initials, descriptions, or pseudonames only. Thank you again, Pop's Trading Post, for sponsoring this video. If you would like to place an order through Pop's Trading Post, please use discount code Karmagetin, all caps, for a 20% discount at checkout. Thank you, everybody, for all your feedback and support. Again, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Feel free to share with anyone, and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications when any of my new videos come out. That's my video for today, and remember, do something nice today. Help me change the world.
It's not their turn, it's my turn to shine. Like the rays of the sunlight reaching out my arms.
Catch you next Tuesday. Have a wonderful day. Laters!